Hello, recently I have been asked about what are my configurations for the spec of the computer and for the game. I have a AMD Ryzen 9 5900X with 32 gigabytes of RAM and an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070. So it's a very average setup, I would say. It's like decent, even more for my country, but it is definitely not like high end. Uh, and the graphics that I use are uh, borderless, and there's a reason for that, and it's because I'm using lossless scaling. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that soon, but yeah, there is a borderless here. Then I changed the frame to 30 FPS. Again, because of the lossless, and I'm explaining soon. I use the NVIDIA DLSS on quality, but sometimes when I need to increase FPS, I slowly go testing. I go usually from performance to balance to try to increase a little bit of the FPS in case I need. That's mostly for it on the screen. On the quality, everything is basically on high on the third spec. Uh, I remove motion blur because I don't like it, except character count and view distance, because this game is very demanding on the CPU. So it's a bit hard like to run anything smooth if you don't have a good CPU. For example, my CPU is struggling, so I have to run things on low for the character count and view distance. And I recommend, if you don't have a strong CPU, I recommend overall regardless to keep your graphics on high if you have a decent GPU, because if you leave graphics on low, from what I understood reading online before doing my tests, your FPS is gonna struggle even more, and like you're gonna get a lot more tethering and like freezing, because if you use the graphics of most other things on low, you're gonna be removing the work from your GPU and moving it to the CPU, and your CPU is probably your bottleneck. That's already gonna be struggling with the character count and view distance, from what I already understood. So you wanna leave things at high. This way, most of the tasks go to your GPU instead of your CPU, so you can leave your CPU freely, mostly for the things that really like makes it struggle. Another thing that you can do to help is on the character here for the gameplay. Only show your animations. This should also help. And like I said, lossless scaling is amazing. It's a program on Steam that is paid. It costs around 10 to 20 bucks depending on your region. Uh, it's a program that basically tries to generate frames. You need to have your game on borderless. And as you can see here, I have it on 30 FPS, and the lossless scaling try to generate another frame. So I get 60 FPS, it's basically doubling my FPS. It's kind of crazy, because it's picking those 30 FPS, and between those 30 FPS, like between each frame, is trying to generate a new frame. So basically the AI thing that generates frame, I guess, in a way. Uh, so that's what lossless do, and that's why the game feels smooth even with 30 FPS, because it's actually 60 fake FPS, let's say like that. But it still feels very smooth to play, feels good to play. At least I have not had much of a problem. The only problem with scaling is not only that it's paid, but I do recommend it, is that if you have really low FPS, for example, I have 30 right now, that plays perfectly, plays really well. But if I have lower than 30 FPS, the game is gonna stutter a lot, and it's gonna start looking mega blurry and mega buggy, because the lossless cannot work with less than 30 FPS properly. If you want to get like 120 FPS, you can play with 60 FPS and push it to 120. It does work really well. One thing that you might start noticing with higher FPS is the delay input. Lossless has a problem since it's generating frames. A lot of times you might feel like you click something and nothing happens. It's because of the delay input that lossless can generate. So if your parry is a bit behind, or you feel a little bit of lag, it can be from lossless. It can also be from the game, because on ZVZs it's a mess, right? The FPS drop, for some reason skyrockets. So yeah, big mess. But I think that's mostly about it. I'm leaving the lossless configurations on the screen, of course. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. See ya.